Visioning meditation today. So let us begin by finding a comfortable position. Relax everything, your arms, your legs. Leave nothing crossed or tensed. Place your hands on your lap, facing upward, open and ready to receive. Take a deep breath in and release. If you've not already, allow the outer eye to close. Become aware that in this instant, you are surrounded by a sense of love. Unconditional love is all around you. Bring to mind a time when you were in a field of unconditional love. Maybe you were in the company of a friend, a lover, a parent, or perhaps a grandparent. Someone who just loved you no matter what. Not because of some magnificent thing you did, or whose love diminished because of a mistake you made. Their love was unconditional. As you bring this memory to mind, I invite you to recognize that this is the same unconditional love that the universe has for you. Unwavering, supportive, ever present. I want you to begin to feel that you are surrounded by, immersed in, this unconditionally loving presence. Take a deep breath. Feel the love of the universe pulsing through your body with each breath. Feel it flowing through your veins, penetrating every organ and body system. You are steeped in this feeling of being unconditionally loved. And as you begin this visioning meditation, you are filled to overflowing with this feeling of unconditional love, safety, and security. Surrounded by love, immersed in love. You are love made manifest. As you become more and more aware of this feeling of love, this feeling of givingness, of the universal presence, of spirit, I'd like to ask you a question. And understand that by law, this universal presence, this infinite intelligence answers the questions you ask. And so you begin to ask now, and you may ask in a couple different ways. What is the highest vision of my life? This unconditionally loving, universal presence that surrounds me. What's its idea of me? What is Spirit's highest idea for itself as me? What is the next stage of my own unfolding? What is trying to emerge in my life right now? And as you ask these questions, you can amend them however you see fit, using whatever words resonate with your inner self. My words are merely a seed, an idea from which to begin. What is the next great vision for my life? What is trying to unfold as my life? What is seeking to emerge in my life? What gifts and talents are trying to be expressed in my life? You are in a space of receptivity, making yourself available to the answers. Right where you are, all of the answers you seek are present. Always, there is something trying to emerge through you, in your own unique divine way. The next great vision and version of yourself is emerging. And because of your willingness to sit in this field of unconditional love and ask these soulful questions, you are now beginning to hear and feel and intuitively know what's next for you. What's Spirit's big idea for your life? What is the next great vision and version of my life? Without any judgment, censorship, or denial, becoming more and more aware that there is something within that was not impressed upon you by the world, by circumstances, by heredity, by influence, that wants to come forward. In this field of unconditional love, give it permission to come forward, to articulate itself through an intuitive knowing, through a divine download. Perhaps there is an image you see, a feeling, or maybe this message comes to you in words. However it speaks to you, simply welcome it and allow it to flow. No judgment, no censorship, no denial, just complete acceptance of what comes to you. By simply asking the question, you step into that space of open receptivity, of welcoming the answers without expectation. You are inviting this universal presence to guide you, to speak to you, to share with you its highest idea for life as you. Be aware that you have simultaneous awareness, meaning you can be aware of more than one thing at the same time. You can be aware that you've asked this question that's taking you beyond your present circumstance. What's seeking to emerge as me right now? And you can be aware of this next question. What is it that I must become in order to manifest the vision that's beginning to articulate itself to me? This is your growing edge. Ask yourself, what must I become? Where must I grow? What aspects of my life must change in order to be the vehicle for this transcendent vision of Spirit's highest idea of itself as me to manifest? Again, no judgment, no censorship, no denial. Where must I grow? There's a sacred law that you can't really have in your life what you're not willing to become vibrationally. So what must I become? Where must I grow? There's no judgment or shame in asking this, just an awareness that there's a vision speaking to you, seeking manifestation through you, in an area or areas of growth you are acknowledging desire your attention. Now you're embracing a vision that's articulating itself to you through sight, sound, feeling, intuition, and you're embracing an answer to a question: where must I grow? What must I become to be the opening for this vision to manifest? And now we slowly segue into another question. What must I let go of? What must I release that no longer serves me in my life, that no longer serves me in the manifestation of this vision? Allow whatever comes through to be recognized. This may have been something that served you in the past that does not need to be carried forward into Spirit's highest vision for life as you. It could be a conversation, a habit, a way of thinking, something that protected you, a coping mechanism. But today, from this moment forward, it is no longer needed. What is it that I can now let go of that does not serve me any longer, nor serve the vision? Now, this next question is very important. What do I already have that can be in service to this vision? Why is this so important? Because there is a law that states that he or she that has, more shall be given. To he or she who has not, that which they have shall be taken away. What does that mean? When you walk around in gratitude with the feeling of having, the universal law matches that vibration. So you begin with what you already have, what resources you may be overlooking or taking for granted that can be of service to the vision that is seeking to articulate itself. What gifts do I have? Just let it flow through you. It may be some talent, some gift, some latent gifts within you that are so close to you, you don't even think about having them. But you want to think about them so that you can embrace having them, so that you can express gratitude for them. What do I have that can be of service to Spirit's highest vision for life as me? And so the vision, that which is intrinsic to you, that which is unique to you, is speaking. You are catching the feeling tone of it, what you must become, your growing edge. You're beginning to feel into it, to hear it. What you can now let go of that no longer serves you, you are beginning to become aware of it. What you already have, you're beginning to feel, and you know the frequency of being and having. And you embrace all of this in the spiritual quality of willingness. Where there is a willingness, there is a way. Everything always begins with willingness. You expressed a willingness to sit with me in meditation today. There was a willingness for you to receive my words. And so as you think about the vision of Spirit's highest idea of itself as your life, as you consider your becoming, as you consider your letting go, as you consider your having, feel into the frequency of willingness. Think about a moment in your life when you didn't know how to do something, but you became willing anyway. You may not have known the how, but you became willing to walk in that direction. And you discovered that when you did, things came into place because of your willingness. Take a deep and pure inhalation and magnify that feeling of willingness. Breathe into it. Let it be magnified with every breath. I am willing. I am able. I am open. I can. I have. I will. It is in this dynamic that I have the privilege and honor of calling forth the activation of every single person listening to this vibrational word that I am now releasing, speaking it for myself, for each and every spirit and form here in front of me, and for those who are joining me virtually, recognizing that God is all there is. This thought is God. This time is God. This vision is God. This word is God, and it is good. Knowing that the ability to catch the vision, to know what Spirit's highest idea of itself as your life is, as my life is, the ability to synthesize it, to see it, hear it, smell it, feel it, touch it, to match its vibrational frequency is amplified and multiplied. The dynamic willingness to embrace what's becoming, to embrace the ability to release anything that hinders this vision, the ability to embrace and express gratitude for the gifts and talents already present. All of this being amplified now by the power and frequency of the words being spoken, for the words being expressed are a law unto themselves that know only their own fulfillment. I know that everyone within the sound of my voice is feeling into this sacred vision of their own soul, setting something in motion that will bring into their awareness the next step and next stage of their own becoming, of their greatest yet to be, of Spirit's highest vision of itself as their life. This is what I know. This is what I accept. This is what I feel. I feel it with every fiber of my being, and I give thanks that it is already done in the one mind, that it unfolds with grace, ease, poise, clarity, and love. And so I claim this truth by affirming, and so it is. Thank you for joining me this morning for meditation, and stay right where you are. Sunday celebration will begin momentarily. Namaste.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday service here at Centers for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral. And welcome all of you out on Facebook and YouTube who are joining us. And wasn't that a lovely meditation? Yes, and know that that process doesn't stop. Once you've opened the portal, it keeps streaming in. So now, to inspire us even further, I would like to introduce our Big Love Band. Let's give them some love.
Good morning. You want to stand and sing with us this morning? All right. I see my name. I see my name into the world. I see my name. I see my name. I see my name into the world. I see my love. I see my love. I see my love into the world. I see my love. I see my love. I see my love into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I dance my joy. I dance my joy. I dance my joy into the world. I see my prayer. I see my prayers. I see my prayers into the world. I see my prayers. I see my prayers. I see my prayers into the world. I see my prayers. I see my prayers. I see my prayers into the world. I see my prayers. I see my prayers. I see my prayers into the world. I see my love. I see my love. I see my love into the world. I see my love. I see my love. I see my love into the world. I see my love. I see my love. I see my love into the world. I see my love. I see my love. I see my love into the world. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my heart. And it won't let go. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. I can feel it in my body. I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my heart. And it won't let go. Oh, something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. Sing it with me. Something wonderful. Something wonderful is happening to me right here, right now. All this love inside, we can let it shine. Something wonderful is happening to me right here. Something wonderful is happening right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening right now. Something wonderful, something wonderful is happening right now.
Let's give the Big Love Band some more love. Something wonderful is indeed always going on. And we want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, that you are welcome here. We believe that we are co-creators with the divine and that you can change your life by
Changing your mind.
Yes, that's what we believe here. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, traditional and contemporary. Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle, and even the teachings from the Bible. We do it all here. So please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for prayer requests, and use the Contact Us tab to send your comments or questions. So now we would like to do a blessing for everyone here in the congregation and all of you out there in the virtual space, and Reverend Emil is going to guide us in that. So please give a warm welcome to Reverend Emil.
How about now? Now, go ahead. You want to make sure the little red light's on the back. Okay. Technology.
Technology is your friend.
Try it now.
Okay. There we go. I can hear you. So good morning. Good morning. Good to see faces. Good to speak to a live audience. I've been speaking to a lot of my face on Zoom. And some virtual folks out there. So let's just take a moment and turn within. Into that center of our being, that space. It gives me great gratitude to know that there is one force, one power, one presence, one love, flowing and moving. And I know as that comes together in my being, it comes together in each being that represents you. Each beingness, each one sitting here, each one wherever you are and however you are participating in this morning. Just knowing that there is a love intelligence governing the universe that flows and moves in through an energy creator of all things. And I know that each one of us joined together in that infinite oneness that is spirit moment. And so I take a moment to simply bless this activity. Take a moment to simply be grateful for the presence of spirit all the time, even as it comes, that we are also flowing in that same oneness. And as we flow in that oneness, this celebration unfolds with perfect grace, with perfect ease, and upliftment in each of our lives. We bring it together, and we know that as we participate, we are creating it together. In this together, that I am grateful and thankful for the moment, for the opportunity to be here, for the opportunity to be with you all. As I speak to the law, I know that it is always Are we going to welcome everyone to the center?
Well, that was Reverend Emil's welcoming, but we can do a big welcome if we can have that slide back. Can everyone stand up? And we're gonna do a blessing to each other and all of those of our virtual listeners. And we can start together. Welcome.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living.
We know who you truly are. You are the image and likeness of God. We appreciate you. We love you. And we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center. And now, please give us a warm welcome and round of applause and love for Ralph as he gives us another great song.
Thank you, Linda. This tune came from a line from Creative Thought magazine about 10 years ago, something like that, when there still was a Creative Thought magazine. And it's well known in New Thought circles, so you'll figure out what it is when we get to it. There is nothing to heal. There is nothing to fix. You don't need gimmicks. You don't need tricks. It's all there inside, waiting to come out. There is nothing to heal. There's only truth to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. Now I've had my share of emotional pain. Thought that I should see sunshine, all I saw was the rain. But on the other side of my worry and doubt, the sun was shining behind the clouds. That's what I'm talking about. And there's nothing to heal. No, there's nothing to fix. And you don't need gimmicks. You don't need tricks. It's all there inside, waiting to come out. There's nothing to heal, there's only truth to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. Now when you're looking at your neighbor and you see nothing but sin, just remember he's a mirror. You better look again. Now you may wish it was different, but there's no reason to pout. Because when you're looking inside, there isn't much you can hide. That's what I'm talking about. And there is nothing to heal. No, there's nothing to fix. And you don't need gimmicks. And you don't need tricks. It's all there inside, waiting to come out. There's nothing to heal. There's only truth to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I've always been looking for my lucky star. Pretty sure it was out there, just never knew how far. So I waited for sundown, and all the stars came out. Just as I couldn't see, they were still waiting for me. That's what I'm talking about. And there's nothing to heal, nothing to heal. No, there's nothing to fix. And you don't need gimmicks. No, you don't need tricks. It's all there inside, waiting to come out. And there's nothing to heal. There's only truth to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. No, there is nothing to heal. There's only truth to reveal. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa. All right. Well, it is good to be back here. I was. And as I was thinking about the theme that Centers for Spiritual Living has for the month, and Pam Lambert was asking what the title was going to be for Sunday, I was saying, well, this theme fits perfectly with the idea of possibility and being open to possibilities. And of course, the center is in a moment of possibility. Change. To me, change and possibility kind of go hand in hand, maybe with an equal sign, depending on how you want to look at them. And it made me think about some significant moments of change and possibility that I experienced in this very room. So my wife Deborah and I first attended here, I think it was September 17th, 2007. I only know that so clearly because it was exactly a week from the day that we actually arrived in Cape Coral on our move from California. And I met, I'm going to call her Reverend Mary Chase. She also declared that she was my Florida mother after a while. And we were talking, and she was holding my arm, one hand in my hand and the other hand on my forearm. And she started asking me some of her standard questions at the time. Do you know anything about our teaching? Oh, yes, I attended a church in Los Angeles. She said, oh, what church? I said, Agape International Spiritual Center. She said, oh, and I said, as a matter of fact, my wife and I are both practitioners. And about 1.5 years ago, I graduated as a minister. She said, oh, good. We can use you. And then she said, oh, I'm getting goosebumps, and so are you. A couple months later, I was asked to give my first talk in this room. And the center was at a time of transition, was looking for a new minister. And at the moment, I had not decided whether I would put my hat in the ring, as they say. And I gave that talk. I think it was probably November, December of 2007. And afterwards, I thought to myself, oh, I'd like to do that. I would like to do that. So it was a lengthy process. And then I did a couple more talks, and I did one during the month of candidating, as it's called, where I did a talk on the Sunday and a workshop, and then had a question and answer with all of the members at the time. And then I think it was the following Sunday or that Sunday, I can't remember now, they took a vote, and I was voted in. And I said, so, when would you like me to start? Like middle of June or something? This was like the last weekend in May. And they said, oh, no, you're speaking next Sunday. We didn't line anybody else up. So that next Sunday was another significant moment because it was the beginning of a new relationship. It was a new relationship for me with the center and for the center with me. And at the time, it wasn't called, it wasn't the Center for Spiritual Living. That came a couple months later. I think it was the Center for Positive Living. It actually had like 3 different lines of name at the time. And I went to a conference in California about a month after starting in the role here, and it was when the 2 organizations, Religious Science International and United Church of Religious Science, had decided to merge and create Centers for Spiritual Living. I came back and everybody said, yeah, let's do that. So it's been simplified. We changed the sign and all that good stuff. But that was an opportunity for all of us to change because we started doing some things differently. Some of the things are still in the slideshow, which amazed me. It's like, wow, they're still doing that. The greeting that you all said, wait a minute, we didn't do our greeting. Some people loved it when I first started doing that here, and some people hated it. And after a while, it became more and more accepted, and we all found a way to make the newest person most accepted when we did that. And so we had a long tenure. And lots of changes occurred, lots of personal changes, lots of organizational changes, lots of physical changes in the room itself. And then the next big moment of change, again, for me and the center, was when I decided to retire. And I gave my last talk as the senior minister here at the end of September of 2016. And that set the center once again on a moment of change. And then last Sunday, you had a moment of change, and here I am again. And the thing that I want to say through all of that, everyone that participated in the center had a choice. You always have a choice. We always have a choice with change, no matter where it's coming from, right? And the simplest way to say it, and maybe the tad crass, is lead, follow, or get out of the way. But the question is, in lead, following, or getting out of the way, how are we supportive to the process of change? If we're leading, are we participating as a leader in a way that brings everyone else with us? They always say that the test of a leader is when you turn around, is anyone following you? You know, and I've thought, yes, it's funny, but really true. You know, so as a leader, how do I lead? How do each of you lead? Can we say that this entire group is leading? I would say yes. Because as you step forward to do whatever it is, you do play your part from it's not just attending, it's attending, because attending is supporting the center. So there's nobody just does anything. You're participating in one way or another. So if you're attending, if you're participating in the music team, if you're doing one of the other activities that support the center, we're supporting and leading together, leading the change, supporting the activity that this is a permanent activity here. Following, sometimes one or two or three people are working hard at setting a direction, and they need support. They need people that will follow along, people that will help them make whatever direction work for the center. And the get out of the way part is another, how do I sort of not impede progress, but I can be supportive? And I always think about all of this put into the idea of communication. And I've been hearing a lot in the circles I've been in recently about this 3 things to think about before you say something. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? I see lots of nodding heads. Yes. Wouldn't it be beautiful if everyone took that moment to think, is this true? Is this necessary? Is this kind? Before they opened this. And, it's not always easy because we very often just want to blurt something out. But when we think about the space that we're in, when we think about this God space, when we think about moving in the flow of things, we all like to have flow in our lives, yes? Flow means things are going smoothly. Flow means that we're kind of enjoying things. Flow means that there may be people enjoying things with us. And I think wherever there's flow, there's spirit. It's flowing with us. We're in our spirit selves. We're in that heart space that says the love that I'm receiving, I'm giving forward at the same time, that I'm flowing and moving in this activity of spirit, flowing and moving in this way that says that my actions say, I love you and I know that you love me. And I know that's love is a big word when we start to say, I love you and you love me kind of a thing. But when you think about coming together in community, why do we come together in community? Some aspect of our being loves being with those other individuals in the community. You think about that a minute. So when we support something like the Center for Spiritual Living, and I think it's kind of humorous. I went from the CSLCC, Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, and now I serve at the Center for Spiritual Living, Cultural Coast, from one CC to another. And Melissa, if you wouldn't mind running in there, my phone has a timer that's going off, which would be reminding me to tune in to the other CSLCCs Sunday morning, because I participate in that when I'm not speaking somewhere else. So, thank you very much. So we participate in a flow of being with others one way or another. Now, this last year plus has been a little bit difficult in that we haven't really been able to be with others very much. I've given, 7 or 8 talks in the last year, and this is only the second one where I've actually had some live bodies in the room. It's been rather interesting, and some of them, if you talk on Zoom, it makes the speaker's face the biggest on the screen, right? And so when I've done Zooms that way, there's my big face looking back at me. Or I do StreamYard, and there I am looking at me talking, and I'm thinking, what's that on my face? No, actually, I got over that after the first or second time. It's like, okay, don't really look at you, just talk, So that's kind of interesting. What are we doing when we come together, when we address change? We're serving ourselves when we address change, when we address possibility. What are we going to do? Possibility, opportunity, change, they all go hand in hand. So we're in that space. How do we work with it? How do we adjust to it? How do we get over the, oh my goodness, I don't want to change? It's okay if those folks want to change. In fact, they really do need to change, don't they? Right? We've done that. Oh, you think I need to change? Moi? But what would I change to? What would that could be scary. I might have to do something different. I might have to go somewhere different. I might have to be with different people. And I think, I can say I've not done some things because I wasn't ready to change. When I listed those three things, lead, follow, get out of the way, I've been all 3 of those, sometimes all at once. It's like, oh, that's a really good idea. Oh, but I don't want to be the one that leads the charge on that. I'm happy to let John or Mary or Sue do that. But I'll support them in whatever way I can. And then sometimes my support doesn't look as strong as maybe it could. But I think in every moment, that's our decision to make. How are we going to participate? How are we showing up? How are we easing a process from point A to point B to C to D and wherever it goes? So this center is in a process now. There are activities going on. Your board of directors is working hard to try to figure out how to move from where things were to where things are going to be and what the process is going to look like and who to work with and all those kinds of things, who to have come talk on Sunday. None of these things are taken lightly. And what I usually say, and I didn't say, and I'll go back and I'm just going to recoup the moment, it's an honor to be asked to speak to a center that's not your own center. It's an honor and a big responsibility to come in and speak to a group of individuals, especially in a case like this where you're going through a transition. You're going through in the sense that you're seven days into it at this point.
So I always take it as a very serious responsibility that I'm here to make it better. Not so much like solve a problem or anything else, but to deliver a message that supports what's ever going on here, supports you and me and in what we're doing together. Because I believe we do this together. I also know from having given a lot of talks that whatever I need to hear is what you're going to hear. You say, what? Yeah, well, it just kind of works that way, because as we work through our lives, and those of us that wind up doing Sunday morning lessons work through our lives live and in person with audiences. Because as we move through, as we select a topic, as we select a title, it brings up all the stuff that we're working with in our own lives that relates to that topic. So open to possibility. I would say, a year ago, I would say I wasn't very open to possibility. And some of you would say, what, you? For some folks that don't know me, and some folks maybe that don't know this about me, about a year and a half ago, I had open heart surgery. I have one of those zipper things, as they call them. My T-shirt had a V-neck on it somewhere and says, oh, you're a member of the Zipper Club. It's like, what? He says, yeah, the zipper. It's like, oh, yeah. Hacksaw down the middle of your chest. But I spent a fair amount of time in recovery, mental recovery, physical recovery, mental capacity. I would say I'm still probably, I keep saying 90%, but it's because I keep finding another level of mental capacity that I didn't have last week. So my ability to be open possibility, about a year ago, was open to possibility of getting out of bed. It was open to possibility of maybe doing some exercise today. Open to possibility of maybe I can read for 5 minutes without falling asleep again. Or get through the afternoon without taking a 2-hour nap. So I've come a long way. I've watched a number of things happen. I've watched my own approach to possibility grow and change over that time. And maybe you have something in your own lives that you can relate to in a similar way. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be open heart surgery. I don't recommend that for anybody that doesn't need it. If you need it, go ahead. But they don't tell you a lot of things, like after you've been on the heart-lung machine for 10 to 12 hours, that you will have what they call cardiac brain. That's where you kind of felt like a dear friend who actually played here a few times with the Big Love Band, who had a stroke. And I remember talking to him a couple weeks afterwards, and I would say, how are you doing, Chuck? And he says, well, for the most part, I'm feeling pretty good. But, it's like I went into the grocery store the other day, and I wanted to buy some bananas. And I wasn't seeing them. And I found somebody that worked at the store. And then I couldn't remember the name of what I wanted to find. So he said, so I went up to this guy and I said, I'm looking for the things, they're kind of long and yellow, and they have a stem, and you can break the stem off, and they're good inside. And the guy says, oh, you mean bananas? He says, yeah, I had that. Or I'd remember somebody's last name but not their first name. And it'd be like, Williams, John. But sometimes the John wouldn't come until John told me that it was John. He also told the story, is like he needed to fix something. He's like talking to a repair guy. He says, it's a thing on top of my house. The guy says, the roof. He says, yeah. Well, I'm not quite there so much. Now I think probably in part because I'm 70, some of that is happening, although I don't like to claim that just because we get a little bit older, we lose faculties. But I'm a little slower. I can't run as fast as I used to or as far as I used to. In fact, I don't really like to run at all. It kind of jars my legs a little too much, so I walk. But we make adjustments, and we adjust, which is what? A change. So we're making changes all the time. So the difference with possibility and opportunity very often is our choices to do those things. Our choice to change. How do we choose to do it? You know, we can be dragged kicking and screaming, or we can say, oh, I'd like to take this one step at a time. What might the steps be for this change that I'm participating in? And I think that's where we turn within. That's where we turn to this powerful teaching that we all participate in. We turn within and we listen. You know, and some people say we're listening to that still small voice of God, Spirit within us. We're listening to our intuition. I think intuition and the voice of Spirit may be the same thing. You hear the line, be still and know. Be still and know what? I asked the first time I heard that. Well, be still. So quiet that surface mind, that monkey mind, as some of us call it, that activity, the ego voice telling us that we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to make this one happy or that one happy. You can't do this because, you know, so and so won't like it, or, you know, they're counting, you know, they're counting on you to be the same. But wait a minute, I want to change. So be still. So we quiet that. We quiet ourselves. We sit in meditation, guided or unguided. We find a stillness that's within. And in that, we can hear our true voice. Some of the texts TEXTs I've been reading, as in books, not text messages on my phone. Talk about as we listen to that inner voice, we're listening to our true voice. We're listening to our true self, especially in the Hindu teachings and the Upanishads. You know, we find our true self, that true beingness that's the place of Spirit, God, Brahman, whatever name you want to give it, in your own life. And when we hear that, we're guided forward. When we hear that, we're guided forward. Sometimes I get the opportunity, and it's one of my favorite things to do, and some of you will say, oh my God, he must really be crazy, is I enjoy being in a crowd somewhere and meditating. Like the airport where there's a couple of hundred people waiting for, well, I don't know if you do that today, but you know, where there may be 8 or 10 flights going out at the same time and the room is just full of people that are talking, babies crying, all that kind of stuff. To me, it's a beautiful noise. It just gives me such a wonderful backdrop to drop into my silence. When we're meeting live up at CSLCC in Sarasota, I would do the warm-up with the music team there, and then I'd sit in a chair somewhere in the room and meditate while all the socializing was going on. This was part of my period of, I was still in recovery from my surgery at that point, and I wasn't up to socializing. I just wasn't. I couldn't do it. So it was a great opportunity for just being still and enjoying the energy, the happy energy, the love energy of that community coming together every Sunday morning. Because that's what it is when we come together in community. It's love, right? We're bringing the love in the room. We're sharing the love. We're talking with people, sharing our stories, checking in with them, making sure they're okay. Especially in this time, everybody's checking, make sure everybody else is okay, right? I joke now because I've got I actually carry it in my phone, the little card that says I've had both my vaccinations. I feel like our little pet dog Marco, who has to have his shots to be able to go to the boarding facility. Now you could board me somewhere. It's an interesting change to our way of being. The fact that I'm looking at a room of what I hope are smiling faces, but I really can't tell because you have masks on. Oh, except Barbara's got a shield on, so I can actually see that. It's interesting doing a Zoom talk when you can see all the other faces because they're really pretty close and you can tell if anybody's fallen asleep. Oh, it's such a different thing. If you told me I'd be doing Zoom talks, or I did a couple of them that were out of state. I would never be able to do. They wouldn't fly me to another state just for Sunday morning. Unless it was a great big church, but it was a place that had I think there were 24 people on the call, including myself. So we're in a moment of possibility. We're in a moment that our choice is to be open to that possibility. And in that choice to be open, our opportunity is to make choices that facilitate the unfolding of the possibilities. And when we say, when it's either plural or singular, possibility means that there's different things that can happen, different paths that one can walk, different choices to be made at every moment. So it doesn't say that there's only one right possibility, especially not when there's a bunch of people involved, because we all have our opinion. We all have our likes and dislikes. And underneath that, with a place such as the Center for Spiritual Living, the thing that I love, it's not about the messenger. It's about the message. Where's your big book, Melissa? It's about that message. Now, that book is a tad philosophical. So read some of the other books. The message is the same. I've had this frog following me around for about a week and a half. I'm not sure where it came from, but it seems to show up after I talk for about 5 minutes. It's about the message. It's about the message that Ernest Holmes brought forth, starting, I think his first book was published around 1919. The last one just about before he passed in 1960. But it's an eternal message. It's not things that he made up out of nothingness. He studied far and wide. He studied the Bible. He studied Hindu philosophies. There's somewhere in there that Sri Aurobindo is quoted. He was into the universality of this idea of spirit, this universality of these concepts of love, of peace, of finding our inner strength, of finding that strength in spirit and the oneness that we all share. I'm reading Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, excuse my French pronunciation, even though I have a French last name, I didn't study the language. Catholic monk. He's talking about the oneness that we have. He's talking about the same. I'm reading him saying, wait a minute, you must have been reading Ernest Holmes. They were contemporaries. De Chardin passed, I think it was 1955, a couple of years before Holmes. But he was talking about the same universalities that we talk about here. But he was talking about it from a purely Catholic point of view and the Christianity of Catholicism, which I know for some of us, especially me as a former Catholic, it's like, wow, really? He's saying that? Read Thomas Merton, another Catholic, speaks pretty much the same message. Then you can flip over and read Thich Nhat Hanh or Dalai Lama or some of the Buddhists or the Hindus or whatever, and they're saying the same thing. One power, one presence, all the time, all here, all about love. And what I'm going to say, it's the message, the message, the message. How do we embody that message? How do we live that message? How do we take it from one place to the other? How do we share it with our friends and loved ones? You all may have family that don't understand where you go on Sundays or what books you're reading. You still love them. You can still serve them from the point of view of this teaching without needing them to believe the same way that you do. I loved what I heard early on in my own classes and so forth, that there are many paths one way, and the analogy was that if you imagine a sort of a conical mountain, and just wide at the base and pointy at the top, that all the different paths start out around the circumference of that mountain, and as we're all climbing up, we get closer and closer to the truth and closer to the one truth. So many paths, one way. That's the truth of possibility as well. Many paths, one way. There are many ways to get to, ultimately, I think the goal of this community and your board is to have a new someone standing up here that you'll come and hear deliver the message each Sunday, to teach the classes, to guide the practitioner corps. And it's about the message that person will bring. Not who they are necessarily, what they look like. Gee, I don't like them. Did you see that jacket he was wearing? No, couldn't do it. Or that shirt, oh my goodness, or blouse, or whatever. So we come together and support when we're changing as a group. We come together to support each other, and we come together to support the cause in this case, the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. And you've got a wonderful board of directors here that's working hard to support that change. Yes, yeah. You've got practitioners, practitioner team, corps, whatever you call it. Yes. You've seen their presence this morning, supporting this first new service. Doing a great job. Thank you very much. I felt very welcome and cared for. And the community. Give yourselves a hand. You're the community. And out there in internet land, give yourselves a hand as well. You're supporting from where you are. Because I believe firmly that the energy is flowing, and we're all feeling the energy, the same energy, because we're tuned into that same energy. That it just flows and flows and flows, and we're all connected, we're all one. This one mind, this one activity, this one flow and movement that is spirit in us, as us, and through us. That is the truth that I know. That is the truth that I seek to live from and through each day. So let's just take a moment in prayer together. Let's really just embody this activity. So just turn within. And it is with great gratitude that I take this moment to speak this word. This word of unification, this word of wholeness, this word of perfection, this word of recognizing the power and presence of Spirit that is everywhere and right here. This power and presence that I know is the love intelligence that governs the universe, that guides every waking moment and even those moments in sleep. And it is the creative energy and the creative substance of all things. And I know that each one of us gathered together this Sunday morning in this very moment, hearing this word, is created out of that substance, the sum and substance that is Spirit, with the same love, the same perfection, the same joy, the same happiness, the same possibility. And in this one activity, in this commonness of creation, this shared divine activity that is the truth of each one of us, we move forward in the perfection of Spirit. That perfection that is at the core of each of our beings, that perfection that allows me to know that as I'm Spirit created, I know you are Spirit created as well. And so I know as we go forth this morning, we are gathered together in a great activity of Spirit, a great activity of possibility. I've always loved this idea. The moment is pregnant with possibility, that it's ready to give forth a new idea, ready to birth forth from each one of us a new idea of whom and whose we are, a new idea of what our collective world looks like. A new idea of how we come together in love, how we come together in joy, how we come together in peace, how we come together with the vision of oneness that allows us to walk hand in hand, spanning our differences, spanning our different understandings, spanning our differences in background, just bringing it all together into the one flow and one activity that is Spirit in, as, and through us. So I know that this moment is good. I know that this activity is good. I am grateful to know that we've come together in a way that supports the love and the joy and the peace and the unfoldment of this new activity of the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral, this new expression of this divine idea in the mind of Spirit. So I am grateful for the word, grateful for the presence, grateful for the opportunity to be speaking this word, and I release it into the law, knowing that it cannot return to me unfulfilled, but only fulfilled thereof. And in that awareness and in that surety, I declare it done, good, and all Spirit. And together we can say together, and so it is. Love and blessings. Stage manager. So this is our giving moment. I said I would do this because I actually find this one of my favorite parts of Sunday morning. Now, not many people like to ask for money, but I do. Because I know that there's something absolutely required for each of us to grow and move and flow. And the important word is flow. And I was just reading in Course in Miracles the other morning. It says you have no knowledge of what it is to receive until you're able to give. And they said it another way a few days later, that you don't receive until you give. And another way they said it was, you've not acknowledged your receipt until you give. I will also say, and this is Rev G. Rev G is an honorific that was given to me by the West Indian Hindu group that I used to play kirtan music with on this very stage. And I think we did that for about 3 years, and they gave me that name. And now I forgot what I was going to say. Having one of the, yeah. So this giving and receiving activity is a circulation, is a flow, is a movement. Stuff comes in, stuff goes out. Stuff comes in, stuff comes out. And when you give, you create a space in your own world. When you give, you create a small vacuum. And the universe always fills a vacuum. It always gets filled with something else. And I found that very often when I give, something bigger comes to replace what I've given, and I have to grow and change to accommodate the new and the bigger. So try it if you haven't tried it. So I always like to do a prayer at this point, and just know that we're supporting the center. We support the center with our time, talent, and treasure. Time and talent comes with that support and activities like we were talking about in the talk. Treasure is it's our cash. It's the thing that we have. And when we give from that, we are confident that we know more will come because it's always flowing. I used to like to say when I did this part at Agape, I used to talk about the tithing program there, that it's really not ours. We're here as stewards. So whatever we think we have, whatever I think I have, I'm just the steward of it. I'm just taking care of it until the next person takes over. When I make a donation, I'm being a steward of what I have, giving it over to another group of stewards. So when we think of ourselves as a steward, how best do we want to use our energy? Because it's all energy. So I just take a moment to bless this activity of giving, this activity of offering. And in it, I bless the giver and the gift, knowing that each is blessed, each is divine in its own activity. And I'm grateful for it and grateful for this moment. So it is. And now we have a song. We have a song now, right? No, first we have the Ushers. What do you need?
Okay, so this is new for me. I'm winging it right now. And don't you love these masks? It kind of hides your double chin. I love it, love it. I wish I could put one back here, but next time I'll invent one, okay? Anyway, I'm going to be reading announcements from time to time, and I'm winging it today, so okay, okay, so I don't have my glasses. I can't read for it. What? Zen Tangle Method. Introduction and... Wait, there we go. I can see it now. Wait. Oh, okay. April 17th, 10 a.m. till 12:30, and it's online at Zoom, and it's $25. And it's a fundraiser for the CSLCC, our CSLCC. It's going to be on Zoom, yes. Online via Zoom. Okay, and Wednesday is the midweek tune-up, and it's outside, and it's socially distanced with mask, and Melissa is going to be the facilitator. and our annual meeting. And if you're a member and you're interested in a position on the LC, oh, the leadership on the board, okay? We would like to welcome you to do it. And if you have any questions or suggestions or just want to know what's going on in your spiritual home, please join us on Sunday, March 21st at 7 p.m. via Zoom. Okay, and the food drive, we still do that every week. It gets delivered, right, Randy? And we appreciate it, and we're in need now, probably just as much, if not more, for food. Thank you. Okay, and when you exit, remember, we go out this door here. We keep socially distanced, and you can bump each other when you get out there. How was that? Not too bad, was it?
And now we would like to invite Reverend Gavreau back up to the stage for Standing in the Light.
Okay. Hey, John. What's that? All right. So this is our moment for standing in the light. Haven't got to do this in ages. Oh boy. And it's a moment to bring forth either your own name or someone else's into this circle of prayer, this circle of healing activity of revealing the truth, as we go back to Reverend Ralph's song there about earlier, that it's all perfect. So just take a moment and from that place of love in your own heart, bring forth either your name or something that you are standing in the light for. Very good. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we take all these divine beings, these unique and divine expressions of the One, into the wholeness and perfection of Spirit right here and right now, knowing that there is an unfoldment. It's coming together that is the perfection of Spirit, expressed as each name that has been brought forward and each person in the room. In this moment, please speak your own name into this circle. Emil. As we speak our own names into this, and we speak the names of so many others and the thoughts that we have for so many others that we want to serve and bring forward and bring up to a better expression of their own perfection, I know that we bring them all into the light that is the light of God, the light of Spirit, the light that is shining all the time. That light that shines from within us out to all those that surround us as well. For we are divine conduits for that light, of receiving it and giving it forth. We don't receive it and keep it. We receive it and give it forth. And as we stand in the light, we shine the light. We receive the light. We are the light. And in the truth that we are the light, we reveal the truth of each one and ourselves, knowing that it is the truth of wholeness and perfection in everything that we do, the joy and happiness and love of Spirit expressed in, as, and through us. And it unfolds with great grace and ease. And for this and so much more, I am eternally grateful. And so it is. Watch over us, yeah. Oh, we let it be. We let joy watch over us, watch over and over us, yeah. Oh, we let it be. We let love, let it fill your heart, let it fill your soul, watch over you. Oh, we let it be. We let love watch over us.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Have a great week, everyone.